So Emmeline, please come and tell us all about SpaceBase and how it fits into the supernode of aerospace.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Tenakoto katoa. Well, first of all, thank you so much for Ministry of Awesome for actually inviting SpaceBase and talk to you about what we do and how it relates to the supernodes. So just a little bit of a background about us. I'm Emmeline Pat-Dahlstrom. My husband's here, Eric. We're three co-founders of SpaceBase. We are Edmund Hillary Fellows. We've been here for 2 years. And essentially our moonshot is to help catalyze the space entrepreneurial ecosystem in New Zealand, which relates to the supernodes. So we're focusing on the fact that today exponential technologies are democratizing the space industry. So from biotech, nanotech, AR, VR, robotics, and so forth. So this is making everything like easier and off the shelf. Case in point, that basically that supercomputer in your pocket, our cell phones, which we normally just take for granted. If you put all of the computers all together in the 1960s that sent humans to the moon, that's just one cell phone today. So that is a real supercomputer. When I started talking about the democratization of space, there's this, the analogy of there used to be really big satellites. Now you've got nanosats today that are being launched very easily. But today it's really now the pocket sat versus the chipsat, and so it's even gone even smaller. So cheaper, faster, better. And this has spurred really a new market called the small satellite launch market, which according to studies is going to be $62 billion in 2030. This is a new market that, believe it or not, Rocket Lab is actually on the lead. So there's about 140 different launch companies today that are trying to do what Rocket Lab is doing. So New Zealand is already out there in the lead. So the bottom line here is, the aerospace is no longer for big governments and big aerospace companies. It's really for everybody. It's no longer also just launchers and spacecraft. It's everything along the value chain. So all of these things from food to energy, life support, these are niche markets that New Zealand can actually look at and potentially be part of this global space economy. But so I really like this quote, the future is here, it's just not evenly distributed. Again, exponential technologies are here. Technology is accelerating and developing rapidly. It's going to happen whether we like it or not, and so we need to leverage it. But the problem is today, the global space economy is still moving not evenly. So it's not evenly distributed. And the fact is that about 70% of all of the space activities that are happening today are being done by the 9 wealthiest countries in the world. So this is sort of like our mission. At SpaceBase, we want to level the playing field. The democratization of access to space for us is really creating and catalyzing those space ecosystems in different countries, one nation at a time. It's a big kind of like moonshot goal, but I think to be able to have a really global space economy, we have to do this. This is our kind of like our main mission. So we're trying to do this with a very simple roadmap. And I think the roadmap really is capacity building. And you do that by education, entrepreneurship, and collaboration, and hopefully a marketplace that is going to be leveraged by everybody like around the world. So why New Zealand? We actually think that New Zealand is really the best place to prototype. It takes a lot of the elements for a sustainable space ecosystem, from a very progressive government to already the infrastructures and the launch capabilities that are existing with Rocket Lab, to the isolation of New Zealand, its selling point. If you want to launch very frequently, air traffic is very small, and so you also have like launch angles that are bigger than most other spaceports in the world. So what we first did as part of our own mandate is we created the directory. So when we first started this, people were saying, well, there's only one company, Rocket Lab, or maybe a handful of companies. But then we found about 230 organizations all across New Zealand that are, in one way or another, are actually working on some form of space activity. So this became sort of the baseline for the Deloitte report that came out about a week ago about the New Zealand space economy. And so as you can see, most people would just like say that, you know, space manufacture or space operations because of Rocket Lab, but then as you look at the numbers, ancillary services is tracking about the same way. So the space economy of New Zealand, which is about 1.69 billion today, is actually spread out over many different parts of the industry. So going back to SpaceBase, how do we catalyze the industry? We are leveraging, for one, incentive prices to really help that growth by catalyzing ideas and startups and potentially businesses. So for the past 2 years, we've run this National New Zealand Space Challenge with Christchurch NZ, and then this year, together with Airbus, MB, and also Christchurch NZ, we ran the New Zealand Aerospace Challenge. It was focused on agriculture this year, on sustainable agriculture, and essentially how do you detect agricultural pollution in water and soil. So as part of that, there was about 30 to 35 different applicants. We narrowed it down to 17 teams who went through this first New Zealand Aerospace Virtual Incubator, and we wouldn't have managed to do this without a Ministry of Awesome, who did a lot of the sessions and also did the pitch coaching. When we did all of the webinars, the teams are from all over the country, and so we had to do it online, and we leveraged some of the incubators from across the regions as well and had mentors from across the regions. So we've been here for 2 years. This is like the highlight of the impact that we think we've done. I won't talk about all of them, but just to note a few things. I mean, we've done about 100 different presentations from across the country, from Northlands all the way down to Dunedin and Queenstown. We've involved 22 incubators from across the country to about 14 of the economic development agencies from across the regions as well. We've catalyzed a meetup group. We've catalyzed the New Zealand Space Student Association. So we're really hoping that what we're trying to do will help with the catalyzation of this like supernode, especially here in Christchurch. So what's next? The sector plan for Christchurch for aerospace just came out yesterday. And this is sort of the summary of the strength. So why Christchurch? Christchurch really wants to be the aerospace hub for New Zealand. And that's being driven by, it has a really large manufacturing base, especially in electronics. It already has the innovation ecosystems, a really great, tertiary universities and schools that could be the capacity building for that. There's unique physical attributes. So for example, Birding's Flats would be a great place for another spaceport if it actually gets developed. So what are the needs? According to the report, you need an accelerator, an incubator, test facilities, a data cube. You need to identify the market and the niche that is already kind of potentially here in New Zealand and can be ported to working on the space industry, and then also an aerospace prize. So for us, I think SpaceBase can actually, help in all of those. And so we're really just like happy to be here and helping the local ecosystem create this industry that has so much potential. Kia ora, thank you.